All righty, we're going to trade places now. All right, I'd like to call up Jeff Lowe, Alan Pittman, and Allison Hill.
Due to the fact that we only have 3 minutes, I think anybody that knows me said I could talk a long time this evening, but I'll kind of stick to some of my notes. My name is Jeff Lowe. I'm a practicing speech-language pathologist. I work for Tritherapy East, which is a speech company here based locally in Greenville, North Carolina. And I stand up here today speaking out in opposition to this, to the House budget for 2009. And I have many concerns, and I'll point out a couple of these to you real quickly. As I was thinking about this today, I thought to balance the budget on the backs of the disadvantaged children, which population that I've worked with for over 13 years, is unconscionable to me. And I believe this is what the legislature is attempting to do, is to cut services for the most needy in our communities. And I just think that's terribly wrong. And unless you've been in the field with this population as I have, you just have no idea the challenges that these children already face, even with the professional services they're receiving. And to take these so-called non-essential services away, the impact on the school system and the general public, in my opinion, would be devastating. And when a child... But I'm a little bit worked up, as you can tell. You know, I'm a speech therapist, and when a child can't communicate, you know, be it to his peers or his parents or his teachers, you know, we know that this leads to a lot of frustration. Bad behaviors start occurring and bubble up. And these behaviors in children, eventually these kids grow up and they become troubled adults. And, you know, they become much more greater risk at dropping out of school, you know, teenage pregnancy, even incarceration. So, you know, these are people that we need to stand up for, and I think we do. Most of us in this room stand up for these people, but we need to speak out today and make our thoughts known. So, you know, how can we deny these children their only chance to change their lot in life and get started on a path of education that would benefit not only them but, you know, our entire community? The other thing that I'm really worked up about is I'm not standing up here asking the legislature to just don't cut us. You know, I think that's important that we get the message out that, you know, we can't just say don't cut without offering some solutions. I'm not going to offer any solutions other than the fact that I'm a little bit upset, you know, when all of a sudden that they want to cut these services in our case by 80%. I mean, it's not like they're going to cut us 5% or 10%. They're talking about 80%, which would actually put our company and most other private agencies here out of business. And I say, you know, cut wasteful spending. And then what wasteful spending occurs to me is when I hear about the North Carolina State University provost getting a salary of $300,000 through the end of this year. And then it came out yesterday on the news that not only that, he's going to get $250 the next year, and then $200 the next year, and finally the next year he gets back to his regular pay. To me, that's a great example of wasteful spending. I don't mean to focus too much on our great universities, but to me, that's an example of waste, you know, that we all can cut. You know, I just did a little math. If this one professor would be paid at his regular salary starting immediately today, it would save the taxpayers $240,000 over this contract that he's involved in. And it only costs about $7,800 to provide speech therapy 2 times a week for a whole year for one of our Medicaid children. So, you know, we can do a lot of visits for that $240,000, and that's just one example. And again, I say this shouldn't be a Republican issue. This shouldn't be a Democratic issue. I think this should be everyone's issue. And I'm going to say one more thing. I'm also really concerned and worked up a little bit about the speech therapy situation, because we have not had an increase in reimbursement for our services for at least a decade probably, right, Cynthia? Or a long time. So, you know, I feel like that, you know, we've been shouldering this burden for a long time, and now to come up and totally cut us out of the pie as far as speech therapists are concerned, really kind of gets under my collar. So I would just say I would respectfully ask the legislature to use some wisdom and common sense when considering how to balance this budget. There are many ways to solve this problem, but don't take us down the path of short-sightedness for a temporary fix that will result in permanent damage. Thank you.
All right, Alan Pittman.
Hi, I'm Alan Pittman, and I would like to speak about a speech therapy success story. My son Jacob is 8 years old, and he has autism. When he was 2 years old, he was diagnosed as moderate to severe mentally retarded and moderate to severe autism. Today, and I'm sure most people in this room have met him tonight because he's a very social young man. He can out-talk any of us. He can sure out-talk me. And not only has speech therapy helped him find his voice, it has helped me find my voice and become an advocate for children and persons with autism. And also his other therapies have helped him become a very social young man, helped him integrate into school. He's just finishing up the 2nd grade, and his services also saved my marriage. When he was between 3 and 4 years old was about the worst year of my life. And I finally made a telephone call one day. I said, either you're going to help Jacob get services or you're going to take me somewhere and do something to me, because I can't take this anymore. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not knowing whether he was going to climb on the furniture and pull it over on himself. Constantly having to watch him, and it takes a toll on the family. But I am very thankful for the services he's had, and even though it took 4.5 years of fighting to get him those services, I'm not going to let that happen to anybody else. And I'm also not going to let this legislature take his services away if I have to go to Raleigh and make them balance the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Excuse me.